What if I told you that the most dangerous toxin for your nerves is likely sitting in your kitchen right this very moment? And no, I'm not talking about the cleaning supplies under the sink. It's something you probably eat every single day, thinking it's harmless, or even a treat. Doctors around the world are raising the alarm because this substance is quietly and systematically destroying the nervous systems of millions, leading to a condition called neuropathy. Do you ever feel an unexplained tingling in your fingers? Do your feet ever go numb or feel like they're burning at night? You might just brush it off as being tired or wearing uncomfortable shoes, but what if these are the first warning signs of a serious problem? In this video, we're going to reveal the name of this hidden toxin, explain exactly how it causes a short circuit in your body, and most importantly, show you how to protect yourself. Stay with us until the end because the information you learn today could completely change how you think about healthy eating and help preserve your health for years to come. We can all agree that just because something tastes good doesn't mean it's good for us, right? Let's dive in. Before we name the main culprit, let's take a second to understand what neuropathy actually is. Imagine your nervous system as a complex network of electrical wires connecting your brain to every part of your body. These wires carry the signals that allow you to feel, move, and even digest your food. Neuropathy is, essentially, damage to that wiring. The insulation on the wires wears thin, and the signals start to flicker, get distorted, or fail to move at all. As a result, you might feel pain when there's no cause for it, or, on the flip side, feel nothing at all when you touch something hot. Most often, this affects the peripheral nervous system, the longest wires that run to your hands and feet. Historically, this was almost always linked to diabetes, but today, doctors realize the root of the problem is much deeper and more widespread. It's becoming so common that it's affecting people of all ages, even those whose blood sugar levels are technically within the normal range. And the reason lies in a substance that has become an inseparable part of modern life. So, drum roll please. The most common and dangerous neurotoxin that doctors are warning us about today is sugar. Yes, plain old sugar and its many forms, especially the industrial grade, fructose, found in so many products. We've spent years worrying about what sugar does to our waistlines or our teeth, but its true target is actually our nervous system. Why is it called a poison? Because it's slow, it's quiet, and it's incredibly destructive. It isn't the kind of poison that strikes you down in an instant. It's the kind that chips away at your health for decades. It lingers until one day you wake up with that terrible sensation, like you're walking on burning coals, even though your feet are ice cold. The real trouble is that it's everywhere. It's not just in the obvious things like sweets and fizzy drinks. It's hidden in our bread, our sauces, our yogurts, and even our deli meats, things we consider part of a normal, everyday diet. It's this ability to hide in plain sight as ordinary food that makes sugar such a treacherous enemy for our nerves. So how exactly does something as sweet as sugar turn into a nerve destroyer? It all comes down to a process called glycation. It sounds like a big word, but the idea is actually quite simple. Imagine the sugar in your blood as tiny, sticky bits of caramel. When there's too much of it, it starts to stick to everything in its path, including the proteins and fats that our cells are made of. Our nerves and the protective coating around them are especially vulnerable to this. This caramelization makes them stiff and brittle so they can't work the way they're supposed to. This process creates harmful compounds that scientists call AGEs. It's a fitting name because they really do age us from the inside out. They are essentially cellular junk that triggers inflammation and oxidative stress. Think of it like rust eating away at delicate nerve fibers. It's as if you poured thick sugar syrup into a piece of fine electronics. Sooner or later, the whole system is going to break down. Let's talk about those very first warning signs your body sends you. Often it starts as a faint tingling, that pins and needles feeling in your fingers or toes. Doctors call this paresthesia. Most of us just shrug it off, thinking, "Oh, my foot just fell asleep," or "I must have been holding my phone awkwardly." But if that feeling pops up for no apparent reason, keeps coming back, and starts bothering you while you're resting, especially in the evening or at night, it's a major red flag. Your longest nerves, the ones reaching all the way to your hands and feet, are sending out an SOS. They're telling you they aren't getting the nutrients or oxygen they need, and that damage is already starting to take hold. Think of it like a frayed electrical wire that's starting to spark. That's exactly what's happening to your nerve endings. Ignoring this symptom is like putting a piece of tape over the check engine light in your car. The problem won't go away, it's only going to get worse. There's a dangerous myth going around that neuropathy only happens to people with diabetes, but that couldn't be further from the truth. While diabetes definitely speeds the process up, anyone who regularly eats too much sugar or refined carbohydrates is putting themselves at risk. Doctors are seeing more and more cases of what they call pre-diabetes. You see, millions of people have perfectly normal blood sugar levels when they wake up, but after they eat, those levels spike to dangerous highs. These sugar roller coasters do massive damage to your blood vessels and nerves, even if you haven't been officially diagnosed with diabetes yet. In fact, research shows that nerve damage can actually begin 5 to 10 years before a blood test ever flags a problem. So if you're carrying a bit of extra weight around the middle, or if you find yourself constantly craving sweets and bread, you're already in the danger zone, regardless of what your medical records say. Neuropathy isn't just a diabetic disease, it's a disease caused by the modern diet. After those initial pins and needles, the next stage you'll likely notice is numbness. Where you once felt a tingling sensation, you might now start to feel nothing at all. It often feels as though you're constantly wearing a pair of very thin, invisible gloves or socks. Your sensitivity to temperature begins to fade too. You might not even realize how hot the water is when you step into the shower. Even simple daily tasks become a struggle. You might find it harder to fasten a button or pick up small objects because your fingertips just don't have that same sense of touch. This is especially dangerous for your feet. You could step on something sharp, get a splinter, or develop a blister and not even notice it's there. Because high blood sugar also damages your circulation, even a tiny scratch can struggle to heal, quickly turning into a serious problem. Think of numbness not just as a flickering wire, but as a broken line. The signals from your hands and feet simply aren't reaching your brain anymore. It's a clear sign that the nerve damage has reached a more advanced stage. To understand why sugar is so damaging, even if you don't have diabetes, we need to look at a concept called insulin resistance. Think of insulin as a hormone that acts like a key. Its job is to unlock the doors of our cells so they can take in glucose for energy. However, when we constantly eat sugary or starchy foods, the pancreas is forced to pump out more and more insulin to keep up. Eventually, the cells simply stop responding. It's as if they've become deaf to the signal, and the key no longer works. This is insulin resistance. As a result, you end up with a dangerous situation, a massive amount of sugar trapped in your bloodstream, along with a flood of insulin trying to shout at the cells to let it in. This toxic cocktail is devastating for your nervous system. It triggers chronic inflammation, damages the tiny blood vessels that nourish your nerves, and directly fuels the process of glycation we discussed earlier. For many of us, the hardest part of a neuropathy isn't the numbness. It's that unbearable burning and shooting pain. It's as if your nerves aren't silent anymore. They're actually screaming. People often describe the sensation as if their feet were dipped in scalding water or, strangely enough, freezing ice. It can feel like sharp needles pricking your skin or sudden jolts, almost like an electric shock. The most frustrating part is that the pain usually flares up when you're trying to rest, especially at night. You lie down to sleep, and that's when the real struggle begins. Even the light touch of a bedsheet can feel like pure agony. So why does this happen? Those damaged nerve fibers are essentially sending haywire, false signals to your brain. There is no external cause for the pain, but your brain interprets these scrambled messages as real physical suffering. It's incredibly draining, both on the body and the mind. often leading to sleepless nights, anxiety, and even depression. It's a clear, unmistakable sign that your nervous system is in serious trouble. Many of us believe that staying healthy is as simple as skipping the biscuits or not putting sugar in our tea, but that is a common misconception. The real danger lies in the hidden sugars that manufacturers sneak into the most unlikely products. You might be surprised to find sugar in your ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, or even in tinned vegetables and sausages. It is also lurking in so-called healthy options like low-fat yogurts, muesli, and breakfast cereals. When companies take the fat out of a product, it loses its flavour. To make up for it, they pack it with sugar and syrups. You think you are making a sensible choice, but in reality, you are eating a sugar bomb. This is why it is so important to check the labels. Keep an eye out for names like glucose syrup, fructose, dextrose, maltodextrin, or high fructose corn syrup. These are all just different names for the same enemy. It is these hidden sugars, more than anything else, that do the real damage to our health every single day. Neuropathy doesn't just affect your senses, it also hits your motor nerves, the ones that tell your muscles what to do. A major sign to look out for is a growing sense of muscle weakness. You might find it harder to climb the stairs, get up from a chair, or carry your shopping bags. Maybe your hands have started to shake, or you're struggling with fine tasks like writing or threading a needle. Your legs might feel heavy or unsteady, and you could even notice your foot slapping the floor as you walk because the muscles just aren't lifting it like they used to. This happens because the nerves that carry messages from your brain to your muscles are damaged. When those signals don't get through properly, your muscles slowly begin to waste away. It's a very sneaky symptom because it's so easy to dismiss it as just getting older or being out of shape. But often, the real cause is progressive nerve damage triggered by poor nutrition. Now let's take a closer look at how this damage actually happens. We need to talk about something called oxidative stress. Think of it this way. Our bodies are constantly busy with chemical reactions, and these reactions produce little byproducts called free radicals. You can think of these as unstable, aggressive molecules that are missing a tiny piece, an electron. To fix themselves, they go on the attack, stealing what they need from your healthy cells and damaging them in the process. Normally, our bodies are quite clever. We have a built-in defense system of antioxidants to keep these troublemakers in check. But when we eat too much sugar, it creates an absolute flood of free radicals, so many that our natural defenses simply can't keep up. This triggers a chain reaction known as oxidative stress. To put it simply, it's as if your body is starting to rust from the inside out. Our nerve cells are especially delicate because they are so active. This oxidative stress essentially wears them down, leading to chronic inflammation and causing them to age and fail far sooner than they should. Another warning sign of nerve damage is a change in your balance and coordination. You might find yourself tripping over nothing or feeling a bit unsteady on your feet, especially in the dark. Simple things like standing on one leg or walking in a straight line can become a real challenge. There are two main reasons for this. First, if your feet are numb, your brain isn't getting clear information about where your body is in space. This is known as proprioception. Essentially, you lose the ability to feel the ground beneath you. Second, the damage can affect the nerves leading to the cerebellum, the part of the brain that acts as your control center for balance. As a result, you might lose confidence in your movements. You may start walking with your feet wider apart to stay stable, or find yourself constantly looking down at your feet just to make sure they're landing correctly. This significantly increases the risk of falls and fractures, which is a major concern as we get older. If you or a loved one notices these symptoms, please don't just brush it off as being clumsy or distracted. It could be a serious signal from the nervous system that needs professional attention. It's vital to understand that sugar, oxidative stress, and inflammation are like the three horsemen of the apocalypse for your nerves, and they always travel together. Too much sugar kicks off a process called glycation, which leads straight to oxidative stress. Your immune system sees this damage and responds with inflammation. Now, in the short term, inflammation is a protective measure. But when your sugar levels stay high, that inflammation becomes chronic. It smoulders deep within the body for years, much like a slow-burning peat fire. This chronic inflammation is incredibly destructive in its own right. It attacks the protective myelin sheath around your nerves, starves them of blood, and produces even more harmful free radicals. It becomes a vicious cycle. Sugar triggers inflammation, and that inflammation leaves your nerves even more sensitive to the sugar. There is only one way to break this cycle, and that is to tackle the root cause by cutting the excess sugar out of your diet for good. Did you know that neuropathy doesn't just affect your hands and feet? It can also impact your autonomic nervous system, the part of the body that keeps your internal organs running smoothly without you even thinking about it. When these nerves get damaged, your digestion can really suffer. One common issue is something called gastroparesis, which is essentially a paralyzed stomach. Normally, your nerves tell your stomach muscles when to contract to move food along into the intestines. But when those nerves fail, food just sits there for hours. This can leave you feeling bloated, heavy, and full after only a few bites. It often leads to nausea, and in some cases, even vomiting. It doesn't stop there. You might also experience a frustrating mix of constipation and diarrhea. Many people mistake these symptoms for IBS or a simple stomach bug, never realizing the root cause could be nerve damage caused by high blood sugar. If you're dealing with persistent digestive troubles that aren't responding to typical treatments, it's worth considering the bigger picture. It might not be just a stomach issue. It could be your nerves trying to tell you something. But what about those so-called healthy or natural sugars? Honey, maple syrup, agave, cane sugar, and even fresh fruit juices. Many people believe these are better for us than plain white sugar. Unfortunately, as far as your nervous system is concerned, there isn't much of a difference. All of these products are packed with simple sugars, mainly glucose and fructose. Fructose is especially tricky. When it's concentrated in syrups or juices, your liver has to work extra hard to process it. It turns into fat quite easily, which can lead to inflammation throughout the body. To your system, sugar is sugar, whether it comes from a soda or a glass of orange juice. Both are essentially sugar bombs that cause your blood sugar and insulin levels to spike. Now, whole fruits are different. The fiber they contain slows down the absorption of sugar, making them a much better choice. But simply swapping one concentrated sugar for another is just fooling ourselves. In the end, it won't do your nerves any favours. Another way nerve damage shows up is through changes in how you sweat. The nerves that control your sweat glands can also be affected, and this usually happens in two distinct ways. On one hand, you might stop sweating properly, particularly in your hands and feet. This makes the skin very dry and prone to cracking, which can sadly lead to infections. On the other hand, you might experience excessive sweating, especially around your face and chest, often triggered by eating or occurring late at night. In these moments, your body struggles to regulate its own temperature. This isn't just a matter of comfort. It can be quite serious. If your body can't cool itself down, you're at a much higher risk of heat stroke during the summer months. These symptoms might seem unrelated, but dry feet and a wet back are often two sides of the same coin. They are clear signs that metabolic issues, often caused by high blood sugar, have begun to affect your nervous system. Neuropathy is much more than just a nagging discomfort in your feet. It triggers a dangerous domino effect that can lead to far more serious consequences. When you lose sensation and your body struggles to heal, you're at risk for what's known as diabetic foot syndrome. And that's true even if you don't have diabetes. A simple scratch can quickly turn into a chronic ulcer, which may lead to infection, or in severe cases, even amputation. Balance issues are another major concern. They significantly increase the risk of falls and fractures, which often leads to a sudden loss of independence. But it doesn't stop there. Constant chronic pain drains your spirit, often causing depression, anxiety, and social isolation. It can even affect your internal systems, causing irregular heartbeats or sudden dizzy spells when you stand up. please don't take neuropathy lightly. It's a condition that impacts every single aspect of your health and your quality of life. The big question on everyone's mind is, can we actually reverse this process? The good news is that our nervous system has a remarkable ability to repair itself, but that ability isn't limitless. Doctors all agree that the sooner you take action, the better your chances of success. If the damage goes too far and the nerve cells themselves die off, they're gone for good. However, if it's mainly the protective coating, the myelin sheath, that's damaged, and the nerve fibers are still alive, your body can begin to heal itself under the right conditions. So, what are those conditions? The first and most critical step is to remove the source of the damage. That means drastically cutting back on sugar and refined carbohydrates to stop chronic inflammation and the sugaring of your proteins. Without this step, any other treatment is like trying to bail water out of a sinking boat without first plugging the leak. Cutting out the sugar is the foundation for everything else. It's how you truly begin to restore your nerve health. So what practical steps can we take right now? The best place to start is by clearing out your fridge and pantry. Be firm and get rid of the obvious sugar traps. Things like sodas, processed juices, sweets, and store-bought pastries. Next, make it a habit to read food labels carefully. If sugar, or any of its hidden names, is listed among the first 5 ingredients, it's best to put that item back on the shelf. Instead, focus on whole, natural foods. Fill your plate with plenty of vegetables, especially leafy greens, along with quality proteins like meat, poultry, fish, and eggs. Don't forget healthy fats from avocados, olive oil, nuts, and seeds. These foods provide the essential building blocks to help repair your nerves while keeping your blood sugar steady. It's also important to cut out those sugary snacks like biscuits and sweets. If you feel a bit peckish between meals, reach for a handful of nuts, a small slice of cheese, or some fresh vegetable sticks instead. It might feel a little challenging at first, and those sugar cravings can be persistent, but if you stick with it, your body will adjust within just a few weeks, and you'll truly begin to feel the difference. Beyond just watching what you eat, there are several other ways you can protect and restore your nerves. First and foremost, it's vital to address any deficiencies in the vitamins and minerals that keep your nervous system healthy. You'll want to pay close attention to B vitamins, specifically B1, B6, and B12. These are essential for maintaining the protective coating around your nerves and ensuring that nerve signals travel smoothly throughout your body. Don't forget about fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D or antioxidants like alpha-lipoic acid, which help protect your cells from daily wear and tear. Staying active is another powerful tool. Regular exercise boosts circulation, even in the tiny blood vessels that nourish your nerves, and it helps your body manage insulin more effectively. Exercises that focus on balance and coordination are especially beneficial as we get older. Lastly, never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. That's when your body truly goes to work, repairing and renewing your nervous system while you rest. So, let's bring it all together. The most hidden and widespread culprit behind nerve damage is simply having too much sugar in our daily diet. It works through processes like glycation and chronic inflammation, slowly wearing down the nerve fibers throughout your entire body. This often shows up as that nagging, pins and needles sensation, numbness, a sharp burning pain, or even trouble with your balance and muscle weakness. And remember, this isn't just a concern for those with diabetes. It affects anyone who enjoys a bit too much processed food or sugary treats. But here is the most important message I have for you today. This is not a life sentence. By taking charge of what you eat, cutting back on that sugar trap, and adding in the right nutrients and a bit of daily movement, you can actually stop the damage in its tracks. More than that, you give your body a real chance to heal. You truly can reclaim your comfort and the simple joy of moving freely again. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end. If you found this video helpful, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next health update. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you or your loved ones noticed any of these symptoms? Or perhaps you've already found a successful way to beat those sugar cravings. Please share your experience in the comments below. Let's talk about it together.